Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 71, I'll be tying the extended body green drake spinner, also known as the coffin fly due to its white and black coloration. The spinners of this hatch start appearing about an hour or so before dark above the stream or river where the males and females gather up and mate, and they make their way back down to the stream where the females will deposit the egg sac and float helplessly downstream. At that point, the trout will start picking them off and gorging themselves with these beasts of a mayflies. They measure over 1.25 inches, the females do. And I highly recommend at that point when you start seeing rising fish, fish that are in a rhythm and just constantly feeding, they're going to be the easier ones to catch. I personally like to get up close and personal with these fish without spooking them. And I make my drag-free drift and just hope for the best. I mean, the spinner fall goes well into the night, and it becomes hard to see the fly at that point, and you're hearing gulping fish all around you, big fish. But like I said, it's better to focus on a couple of fish and work them until you catch them. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, here we go. The extended body green drake spinner, also known as the coffin fly, due to its black and white coloration. Start by placing their hook in the vise, making sure that the shank of the hook is relatively parallel with your tabletop. And the first step is determining where the wing is going to be set. So this is an extended body dry fly. So and the extended body is going to come out pretty much a shank back behind the shank of the hook, actually. So I like to, cover the shank of the hook with thread, the entire shank of the hook, like so. Clip off your excess, and then wrap right to the center of the hook. Right about there. Yeah, that looks like that's the sweet spot. That's where the wing is going to be set. So for the wing material, I'm going to use black deer hair and just a little bit, and I'm going to tie it comparadon style. It's just going to be a little hint of black, not a typical thick wing for this size of the hook. I mean, right now I'm tying using a size 8 dry fly hook, Mustad dry fly hook, 94840 Heritage. But and mostly for illustration purposes, so you can really get a good look at this. But some of these spinners are pretty huge too. So anyhow, I'm gonna clip off some just a little portion of this black deer body here, dyed black, and about 3/4 of a gap's worth, just enough to give it a little realism, so to speak. I'm going to place the natural ends inside the hair stacker, like so. And just get them kind of even. Give it a little tap here and there, and here we go. It's got a nice straight edge. So now the length of the wing is going to be the length of pretty much the entire hook, including the eye and the bend. So I'm going to place that in that sweet spot that we determined. I'm going to tighten my thread up a little bit by spinning it clockwise or counterclockwise. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to wrap 10 wraps there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's give it 2 more, 11, 12, and then take them off. Remember, in previous lessons, I spoke about creasing the wing, like so, to get it'll help me spin the wing around, this comparadon wing around the shank of the hook, but also notice on the first wrap how deep that thread gets in there. So that crease will get you closer to the shank of the hook. And I'm going to slow motion spin this around so you get a good idea what I do. So because the main goal is to get this wing to surround the shank of the hook with this method that I developed. So once you anchor that wing, clip off the excess and I'm going to point the wing to the camera a little bit, and you can see the wing material is definitely surrounding the shank of the hook. Okay, let's get this back to where it was. Now, what you want to do is gather up all this material that's spun around the shank of the hook and wrap it in front. Dam up some thread to stand that wing up, and then you just fan it out. So again, this is just a sparse compare-done wing, very sparse. So then I take a wood duck feather, a natural wood duck feather, strip off the bottom, the fuzzy stuff that I'm not going to use, and I gather it up like so, and I clip off the bottom. And I'm just going to sort of lean this right up against the wrapped compare-done wing with the same height, that is. So these are the natural ends and these are the cut ends. I'm going to just lean it right up against the compare-done wing and kind of blend it in there a little bit. Make sure that's secured. Looking good. And I brush it back and fan out that wood duck a little bit, and it gives a really nice realistic effect, mimicking the natural pretty close. So we put a couple more wraps in the front there just to help stand it up. Nice. So now in review, what we did was we found our sweet spot for where the wing is going to be set. And then we put some dyed black deer hair, and we didn't go heavy with it, like maybe a little less or a little more than a 3/4 of the gap, just a little bit, just to give it that dark black wing that the black wing and variegated wing that the spinner has, the green drake spinner has. And then we blended a little bit of wood duck in with it, as you could see. And now we're ready for the body. Or I'm sorry, the tails. So the tails for this fly, for this spinner, I use moose mane. The reason why I like moose mane, it's pretty close to the natural, but it's also nice and long, as you could see. So these, I'm going to take about, maybe 5 or 6 of these. I take more than I need because you'll see when I start making the extended portion of this fly, it can get a little confusing with the body and the tails, and you don't want to clip too many tails off. So these are the natural ends. These are the cut ends. I'm going to stack these, put them in this hair stacker, and just give it a little tap. And then draw that out carefully, and you got a nice stacked tail. A little bit of debris in there with that tail. So I'm going to pull them out. Now, the length of the tail is going to be twice the length of the entire hook. So there's one length. I'm going to mark that with my finger, and there's 2 lengths. Okay. So I'm going to push my wing forward so I can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to attach that tail right where the shank and the bend meet. Just like so. And kind of blend that in with the extra wing material. And clip it off. Got a little wild one there. There we go. So, nice. Looks good. It's starting to take a nice shape. So we have our wing and our tail. So now the hard part begins. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, This fly, I give it a 7. There's a little complexity to this fly with this extended body, so just hang in there, guys. This is a little tricky, but I know you can handle it. So for the body, or the abdomen, I'm going to use white belly hair, deer hair. I'm going to take a good amount of this. I would say a good gap's worth. I'm going to kick out the fuzz like we've done in previous lessons. Open your scissors up about 1/8 of an inch and just kind of poke them into your finger and just kick it out together like so. And get rid of that fuzz. So we're going to have to stack this for sure. Put the natural ends in my hair stacker like so. Stack that up nice for yourself. And when you open up, it should be a nice straight edge, just like you see. So now you're going to take this bunch out, draw out any ends that are short, they'll come out. And then you're going to pull this wing forward and take this bunch of deer hair. Now this is the cut end. I can clean that up a little bit more, or a lot more. The cut ends, these are the natural ends. You don't want to mess with the natural ends just yet. So just kind of pull your wing forward, make sure your thread is in a good spot, about 1/16 of an inch behind the wing, and push this material down, this deer body hair, this white deer body hair, and surround the entire shank of the hook by just pressing it down over and wrap through the cut ends, just like I'm doing. Okay, make sure it's tight because I'm going to put a lot of pressure on this extended body. There we go. So right now you have a big mess. So now pull your wing forward and clip off all these ends that are shooting out, the cut ends. You want to be able to see your work a little bit more. So getting rid of these cut ends will do that. And just don't hit the body, whatever you do, with your scissors. And get your thread out of the way because, like I said, it gets pretty tight in there. And again, this is just a preliminary cut, so I'll be able to get what I want a little bit later. So this is where the fun begins. Once I get that achieved, I'm gonna reorient my hook so that it's kind of facing down a little bit. Like so. And then I'm gonna gather all this material and center the tails. Like the tails are right there. They're in between, or in the center of this group of deer hair, this bunch of deer hair that I stacked for the body. So you want to gather all this up. And again, it's a little tricky. So once I have it pretty much where I want it, you want it relatively tight. Just clean up a little bit more of that hair. And I hope my fingers aren't too much in the way of the camera. But here we go, guys. So once I have that bunch gathered, I'm going to start wrapping my segmented body. Let me see here. So I wrap into the body 1, 2, 3 times. I'm going to wrap under it and move forward a little bit. 1, 2, 3 times. You're going to lose a couple hairs because the string is cutting into the deer hair and I'm really putting a lot of pressure on it. Wrap under the body. Again, try to keep those tails in the center as much as possible. It's not easy. In the center of the bunch of the deer hair body. Next segment, 1, 2, 3. kick it under and outside of the hook. Now you're not resting on the shank of the hook now. Now here's where you really have to give this a good pull to keep it tight. And then you just 1, 2, 3, and then start your next segment and just work up toward your fingers that's holding the deer hair. 3. Keep readjusting. This is not an easy feat, but just keep working your way back toward the tails. Try to keep those segments relatively easy or even. And this will be my final segment. 1, 2, which is going to get 10 wraps. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mamma mia, that was tough. So there's your extended body, looking pretty good. So now I'm going to take the hook, reorient it, just to see what I got. Clean up a little bit here. Looks pretty ugly right now, but I'm telling you, when this is done, it's going to look awesome. Then I'm going to take my, for me, this is what I do. I take the fly out of the vise, point it backwards, and as you know, I don't use a whip finish tool to finish my knots, but this is one of the only times you'll ever see me use this thing. I'm going to take the whip finish tool and tie sort of like a reverse knot, reverse whip finish. And lock it in. Clip off my excess. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my favorite UV glue. Just hit that tie down point. Cure that with my UV lamp. And then begin cutting and separating the white material, the deer hair, from the moose mane without taking out any of that moose mane. At least at the moment. I don't want to hit too much of that moose mane. That's why I put extra ones in, because it gets a little confusing in here. And this is a process. And my goal is to expose all those moose mane tails that I put in there. We're getting there. Just be patient. So yeah, this fly has worked well for me during this spinner fall. And if you get lucky enough to hit the hatch or the fall, it's just it doesn't appear everywhere on every stream. And there are some places in here in Northeast PA that, like the Delaware River, Penns Creek, and so forth, have amazing hatches of this species. Okay, we're starting to get there. It just takes a little bit of time here. One at a time. And this will float like a battleship due to its deer body hair. Okay. I think I got 1 or 2 left here. I'm going to pull this down and really cut into this. There we go. Make that nice and even. So now what I like to do is spread the tails out and get a little bit finer pair of scissors here. Too much coffee today, I think. I'm shaking like a leaf here. Spread those tails out like so. And I'm going to pick, I'm guessing I'm going to pick 3 nice ones. And the reason why I loaded it up with a bunch of moose mane fibers is because the chances of me cutting into the good ones is pretty good, to say the least. With all the separation of the... There we go. There's our 3. So yeah, it's starting to take shape. So in review, let me put the hook back where it should be. We have our wing that we built, and I'll refasten that. I'll reshape it. Our wing was made out of deer body hair, black dyed deer body hair, with a section of wood duck. Then we put our moose mane tails in from our little piece of moose mane here. Nice long fibers, because you have to exaggerate the length of the tails for this. These are quite large bugs. I mean, the females can be over 1 inch long. So, yeah, I'm just talking the bodies now, not including the tails. And we built our deer hair, our body out of belly hair, deer belly hair. Very hollow, very high floating material. So now we're going to transition from the white thread to the black thread. And incidentally, I'm using all 8/0 thread. And the reason why I'm going to black is because the front of this fly is black, the head area. So try to keep it as close as possible to the natural. And now it's just selecting 2 hackles, and I use a brown and a dark brown Rhode Island red hackle and a Grizzly hackle. And I'm going to prepare the hackle by stripping the fuzz off the bottom, exposing the stem like so. Just pull down on the fibers. And the same for the Grizzly hackle. Just kind of pull down. And we know that we have a natural curve to both of these feathers, our hackles. And we're going to marry these together, one on top of the other. It doesn't matter which one you put on, just like so. There's a natural curve. So in this case, I want them curving down and over the fly, not up and away, down and over. And I'm going to attach them. I'm going to pull my wing forward a little bit, and I'm going to attach them to the side of the fly, and then I'm going to pull my wing back up and continue wrapping these hackle stems up the shank of the hook. It kind of just helps even things out a little bit as far as the transition from the back to the front. So now I'm going to just pull these up, back a little bit and up, and clip them off. I caught a couple fibers of the wing. I'm just going to get rid of those. So now I just want to prepare my wing, and I need to tighten my vise just a little. There we go. Nice. So now I don't need hackle pliers for this fly, these hackles, because these are quite long hackles. And I'm going to begin with the Grizzly. I'm going to wrap 4 wraps behind the wing, just like that. I'm going to kind of push the wing back a little bit and get one right up against the wing, and wrap 4 in the front. And I'm spacing them out a little bit, like a 32nd of an inch or so, to leave some room for the brown hackle. Tie that off and clip off the excess. And now it's the brown one's turn. Fill in any gaps, guys. There we go. Pull your wings back. Sneak one in there. We have a lot of cleaning up to do yet, so I'm telling you, this fly will look like a champ when it's done. Look really good. Excuse my finger there. Okay, tie that off. It looks a mess right now, but just you gotta clean it up or dress the fly. That's what my dad used to say. You gotta dress the fly. So clip off all these hackles that do not want to cooperate, hackle fibers that don't want to cooperate with the rest of the fly. I think it's looking good. Form your head. Okay. Tie my finishing knot. Okay, now continue cleaning this fly up. So it's looking pretty sweet in my eyes, and at this point, what we got to do is I trim off the entire bottom of the hackle. So, just give it a little haircut, right as close to the shank as possible without cutting into the thread. This fly will land true and more or less spent like the spinner, and very low profile to the water. Couple more fibers there. It's looking good. Again, it's a doable fly. It's not extremely hard to tie, but it's just the challenge is holding onto that body, onto that white deer hair, while wrapping. But you could see that's a darn good looking fly. So I think we're pretty much done. I mean, drop a glue away from finishing this fly. And yeah, that's it, guys. The green drake coffin fly, the extended body green drake spinner, better known as the coffin fly. I just want to thank you so much for your support and joining me in this episode of the Fly Week. And if you like the content I'm pushing out, please hit the notification bell and be sure to subscribe. Tight lines, guys.